What about it, YouTube? Okay, we're going to talk about TRI Z suspension and things that will work to upgrade it to use a Raptor 660 shock. Okay, it's longer than the stock shock. It means you need a longer system, a longer linkage system that will line up with it. So first I thought maybe a Warrior, there'd be something useful out of the Warrior system here. Nothing's useful, so this is out. Wasted time and money, but anyway, we tried. This is the stock system. It's too short. It just won't work. Okay, there's no way to get it to line up and work. It needs to be a longer system. The system I found that would work first is actually this one, and we'll go through this in detail. But this is a Raptor 350 linkage system. Okay, and we'll put that on and I'll show you it. Okay, and the other one that will work that I just figured out is the 85 linkage. This is the 85 TRI Z linkage. You'll notice that the distance eye to eye is different, longer, okay, making the system longer on the down piece, and the dog bone is also bigger eye to eye. If I could get the stuff to stay together, there we go. But it's a little bit bigger of a dog bone as well. Get the camera on it, sorry. Alright, so this system works, and this system works. So we're going to look at the advantages and how they look right quick on with me putting it together. So bear with me. Bear with me. Okay, that puzzles together quite quickly and nicely. Okay. Now, I've taken the front off, so I can't show you super accurately, maybe. I don't know, we'll try it. Oh yeah, I can sort of do it. Alright, when I compress the spring, you may notice that junction does not move. What that means is that you're getting a completely linear spring rate. But since the shock is at an angle, the rotational value of the shock moving will slow its compression. So this linkage does offer a slower, consistent spring rate than the next system I'm going to show you that works. So my theory is that this would give you a better ride than the other system that works. The disadvantage is that the dog bone sticks down to where it's going to hit something maybe first before the rear tires do. So if you hit a log or something, you could be running right up into this dog bone, and who knows what would happen. So I'm going to probably try both systems and see which one I like best. Let's look at the second system. again, this was the Raptor 350 linkage with the Raptor 660 shock. Alright, and now this is the 85 TRI Z linkage on the 86 swing arm. You'll notice the shock is angled much further back. Whoops, kind of run into that. Hang on just a moment. There we go. There we go. And there we go. So, now you've got a system that looks and acts basically like the stock system. Because, you know, the stock system, if you probably noticed the dog bone and the other portion of the suspension linkage is flip-flopped with the 350, right? The 350's got the dog bone coming down first, and then it doesn't attach to the shock until you get to this piece of linkage. Okay, so it's totally different how it works. The TRI Z linkage, both 85, 86, but they're different, have the shock attaching to this piece, and then the dog bone is just really small. This is, you know, the different system. So the advantage to this one is that if you're going to skip over stuff and it'll hit the back tire without screwing up your linkage maybe, or having a problem there, like, you know, something bad could maybe happen with that 350 dog bone sticking down so steep before the tires can hit it. You know what I mean? This one will scoop better. But the way it works is totally different. Now the shock will not turn at this junction. Now the shock is being stuffed by the linkage directly from the bottom. It's not rotating like the 350 linkage allowed. So you're not getting that advantage of the rotation of the shock slowing down the spring compression. It's just going to be straight spring compression. And it feels stiffer. Like when I push on this, it's more effort than when I had the Raptor 350 linkage on there. So there's advantages and disadvantages to both. This is a stiffer. This shock, by the way, is clapped out. It needs to be rebuilt. But it's the same shock I'm using in each example. So if it's easier to compress, which it should be easy to compress without any damping, it's just the spring that I'm compressing. So it's a noticeable difference anyway, is what I'm saying, when I use the same spring and I use these two different linkage designs. The last thing is your stance, okay? What's happened to the stance? So I measured from the top of the axle at the housing for the brake, right here. I measured from that point to this point, and I compared it to other things I could use. So compared to a stock 85, this 85 has no static sag right now. Someone's put a Raptor 660 shock spring on a stock shock. So, and they've got it cranked up with no static sag. I mean, you can't lift this thing up at all. I mean, there's no static sag. So from it, top to bottom, maxed out, is 16.5 inches. Okay? From this point to this point. Alright? So keep that in mind. There's another 86 with a stock shock. Okay? And you can pull up about an inch of, let's see what I'm doing here. But anyway, you can get about an inch. It's got some static sag to the shock. It's clapped out. So anyway, 17.5. So Yamaha changed the stance 1 inch from 85 to 86 from here to here stock. Okay, now what we know is that stock an 86 would have 17.5 without any static sag, okay, maxed out, and we know that it sat on 22 inch. I think it sat on 22 inch. I think that was the stock size. This has got 22 inch that looks stock. Anyway, 22 inch, so I'm going to run 20s. These are ridiculously small garden tires, but I'm going to run 20 inch. So that means that I've brought from stock, I've brought the machine down 1 inch to the ground in the rear, making it sort of stink bug, or not stink bug, but sort of squat. Now I need to compensate for that inch, right? Well, so it was at 17.5, no static sag. So no static sag with this, you're going to find is 19.5 inches. Okay? And you're also going to find the same figure with the other setup. So you go up 3 inches, well, not 3, sorry, 17.5. You go up 2 inches, and then you lose an inch in your tires if you run 20-inch tires. Now you're up an inch. Now, and I think that's going to be a better setup anyway, putting the weight on the front more. I think it's going to feel better, and just having a higher rear end. So not too bad, but having a little bit, you know. Because you know, look at how that sits compared to how that sits. You know, I want to have something that's pointed on that front tire a little bit. So that's going to work out. You're going to lose an inch, but you're going to gain an inch because you've gone from 19.5 either way, 17.5 on the stock system. All right. Plus, it gives you enough room with that extra inch to give it some static sag. You know, not to have your spring all tightened up. So that'll bring you back down to almost stock. You know, I don't know how much sag you want, maybe 3/4 of an inch or something. So anyway, I think the 19.5 is going to do good, look good, be good. It's just, like I say, the advantages for one is this one's stiffer but will skip over and look stock. This one will give you a better rate, but it'll maybe be exposed to danger. And so that's the work so far on the TRI Z suspension. I hope this helps somebody out and gives them some information that they can use to work on their TRI Z. God bless.